this is the sketch and this is the production, the composition of the track that I'm going to show you. Let's check them out. You can see they're very simple, 4-on-4. I have some layers, but don't get scared by that. What we can do is I like to start with the drums in the production stage. The composition, we already have it. But in the production stage, I like to start with the drums because they give me a sense of a rhythm. So what we can do is, what I recommend you to start with is to start with simple drums, just like this one. Even just like this sounds very good. A really cool way to layer drums is to have different textures. Think of it as, you know, outfits. So when you're going to have an outfit, this is how you layer drums, by the way. When you have an outfit, you don't put this same t-shirt over this same t-shirt unless you have you have a lot of, you're in the cold and you don't have anything else to wear, right? But outfit combinations are like layering, and think as layering as the main thing in the production stage is making each melody, again in the composition, sound very unique and maybe layered with texture and with a theme, right? So that's why the visual reference again is very important for you. But this is what I did for the kick. I like to layer it for different frequencies, right? So this is the main kick, which is the main mid-range to high-range frequencies. As you can see, it sounds very beautiful, very clean. If we played just that one kick, it sounds like this. Then we can add other layers, right? Like this one, which sounds very, very organic, very analog kick. So again, the key of layering kicks is to have different textures, have different combination of different pieces of clothes, and put them together into one single note. So think of as the sounds like people, right? How can you make them wear something cool, having different layers? Because and there's some genres like hip hop that doesn't use layering as much, right? So for example, if you're doing a Drake type beat, you're not going to use layering as much. It's very simple. It's very raw kick. Like you can even use this kick for a Drake type beat. So think of layering as adding texture. That's why the most important thing is the image references. And I added sub bass kick. As I told you, the best thing to do is to layer kicks by layer drums or every sound by frequencies. So this is all, I think it's the same key, I guess, but the most important thing here is to layer them to see the frequency spectrum and see how you can compensate. So in this case, in this gig, I have the lows totally bypassed, just to say it that way. As you can see, there's a curve here. But I compensated with this and another kick, which sounds very good. And as you can see, it's only the low frequencies. There's nothing else there. Right, so we compensate. That's how you layer kicks. What I like to do for the drums is to put some limiter, so nothing gets up from there. So that you don't have this snare super loud and the kick, not good enough, right? So as you can see, when the snare kicks in, it doesn't, damage the mix or the dynamic range. So super simple. Let's get right into the other stuff. Okay guys, so now we're going to focus on the bass. This part we're going to cover the sound design, the layering, and the sub bass. Let's get right into it. The main key of making Cyberpunk bass is to have one bass and focus on one, and then layering it with another basses. So for example, here's our main bass. As you can see, it's very, very dirty and has a dirty texture to it, which I really like. So what I'm going to do is to texture it with other basses. We have the main one, which is this one. And then I add some other basses like this one. So as you can see, we're covering the part of the high frequencies. We're layering in the style to cover the high frequencies and then the middle frequencies, and then having like a bass, a more solid thing. So that is the first layer. This is the second layer. So this is to add a little bit more to the mid-range section here, as you can see. And then this one, which is my favorite, and I think this one is the one that gives the bass a little bit more depth and a little bit more of punchiness. The thing about sound design of this is that you can literally select different types of presets, but it's faster, right? So I have Flex, which is a very common plugin on FL Studio, and this is literally the preset. It's for synthwave, and it just sounds perfect in this case. You don't have to layer every single note. You can give variety with other notes and emphasizing some other notes. So for example, instead of copying and pasting everything just like we did before into the other layers, you can put certain notes into other layer. Let's hear. As you can see, it's just certain notes to make emphasis to the sound. It is not the full bass line, but it's certain notes. So altogether, it sounds like this. So everything sounds like that together. I really love to chop these and add a little more of character, just like this one. It sounds a little bit more fun. Okay, now that we have covered the bass and the drums, here's what we have so far. So now for the other parts, let's get right into the pads, synths, and other stuff. The first thing is the sound design of all the other things, right? So I added synths and atmospheres. What are those? So let me explain. As you can see, this is something very simple. You know, this is just to fill the space and give us a certain kind of feel of atmosphere. As you can see, just literally just one note, and this is just a lead, EDM lead, and we have everything just to fill the space. The real purpose of the pads and the leads and the synths in this case is to have like is to give to the track a little bit more of atmosphere. If you listen to that, it's just one simple note. Let's get into the other parts. The same thing. As you can see, the main thing in the cyberpunk genre is the bass. So that is the most important thing. In this case, what I really love to do it here is just to add a sustained bass, even more basses, just to fill the space, right? Remember that the drums and the bass they are the most important thing in this genre. It is not a super complicated melody. It is not a super catchy, bright EDM melody. It's the bass and the drums. This is the sub bass. Here's the beautiful thing. That's literally it. I did not add a lot of things. There are some misconceptions when making Cyberpunk, and it's like, or mistake that you have to avoid, which is putting a lot of melodies on or a lot of stuff on it. If you want and that's your joy and it sounds good, that's fine. But the real thing is the composition and the bass. So we have here the drop, everything. Let's see how it sounds. Okay, so the other scenes, the other stuff that I add is this. If we see it, it's just a synth, normal synth. What I really like to do with presets is to change them. So I added these envelopes, these envelope filters, and it sounds like this. Very simple, nothing complicated. What I really love to do is that give it a little bit more of personality. As you can see, I automated the pitch of the sound, so it sounds more, it has a little more of character, right? The mixing is very simple on this. As you can see, I'm doing very minimalistic job here in the mix. Very simple, just EQ. I'm not even doing compression. We have the sidechain again, very good. I added this effect. Remember that we're working with a dystopian futuristic setting. So this sounds like just a machine or something like a notification or something. It sounds really cool. I really like it. Very simple. And as you can see, we're not doing a lot of melodies, right? Much more atmospheric stuff. I added here some vocal chops. They sound like this. We have EQ, a little bit of distortion, delay, reverb, and more EQ. And as always, sidechain. In the effects part, what I love to do is to have classic EDM sound effects. Remember, this is still electronic music, so classic downlifter, classic crash.